Hi everybody, welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I hope everybody's doing well this Monday and hope that you're not getting drenched out there if you're out and about. It's a bit miserable outside. But yeah, hope everybody's doing really, really well today. How can I start this podcast? Obviously, a good result on Saturday, which was much needed uh, with the 2-1 win over Crystal Palace. I'll get more into that in a moment. And also, I'll get further into the takeover, obviously, which was confirmed last Monday, halfway through my podcast when that was all confirmed by the club and also the Freaking Group. I want to talk a little bit more about that going forward. And also, I want to talk about the next week's episode, which finally I'm going to be having the great, Mark Thomas, who does great drone footage of the stadium right from the beginning and right through to now currently. And bringing him on, hopefully, be Sunday when I'm going to recording that. So, yeah, so that's something to look forward to for next week's podcast. So, yeah, let's get started. Everton 2, Crystal Palace 1. Yes, much needed 3 points. How we got them, how we got to that point, how to get those 3 points. We needed it desperately. I think it was morale boost, not just for the players, the team, the club itself. Obviously, us as fans, we needed that result. We needed to get off the board. I know we only got 1 point from the Leicester game the previous week, which was a good performance, as I mentioned in the previous podcast. It was a good performance up to about 60 minutes in, and then of course with the changes that took place, and then we just seemed to back away again, and it just shows you where this lack of confidence I think is coming from, to try and come away with that result and the need to get the 3 points. And I think we've seen this season predominantly where we've been in good positions in games that we've not been able to you know get to the end of the game and actually get the results that we needed. We've kind of backed away. I think fitness and everything else, the tactics of formation, whatever has been changed, obviously with the substitutions, the game management from the manager, and changing things, which you know didn't really need to be changed as such or needed changing, but different personnel needed to come on, to actually strengthen the midfield to make sure that we were protecting the leads that we had. But obviously, as I've mentioned in the previous podcasts, it just continued. It you know it didn't work, and basically, them decisions. Obviously, in the end, we could have been in a better position if he made the better decisions at the with the game management and the decisions when he made the times when he actually did it. So you've heard, if you've listened to the previous podcast, you've probably heard what I think about Sean Dyche anyway, and his game management and my feelings for his future. I'll talk more about that in a bit as we go through this podcast. But yeah, 2-1, Everton 2, Crystal Palace 1. The team set up as expected to an extent. Jared Brantwaite coming back in, which was absolutely fantastic to see him back, and massive difference. We shouldn't always rely just on one player. When he's out injured like that, but he was much needed to come back into the team, and settle there with Tarkovsky. Ashley Young played in the Patterson, and obviously Seamus Coleman's still injured as well. The two of them. Hopefully, we might see Patterson maybe next week against Newcastle, but Ashley Young was back on the right wing. Mikolenko came back in. Obviously, I think he might have had an injury the previous week, and also he obviously had the sickness bug that was going around the club. So basically, if you looked at that back, it's like we're finally getting a little bit more of a settled back four. Um, and then the midfield, obviously, stayed the same from the previous week. Decore played with Mangala in the central position. And I'll get on to Decore in a moment, uh, but that was obviously from the team that drew with Leicester the previous week. So that was in a Cabot Lewin up front. So everything was settled. But I want to be positive when I do podcasts and when we do games, when we played well in games and when we deserve to get results. But that first half was absolutely terrible and it was awful to watch. I go in there and I'll get behind the team as much as I possibly can. I'll shout and run, get right behind them as much as I possibly can. And everybody around me is the same. We all want the best. We want to see our team to start well, get forward, get on the front foot. We're at home, obviously, to get up there and actually, attack Palace. Palace are not doing as well at the moment, neither, but they've got some really, really strong players in their team. Eze is one of them. And if you look at them, they are massive. They're about 6 foot somethings. They're like monsters on the pitch. They're that big and strong and pacey and I think they'll be fine further down the line. I think they will get better. Hope for them. But on Saturday, that first half from the beginning, we were out. It was like the team had never met before. And I've talked about this last season when we were going through that run of results where we were not getting any kind of results, not playing well. Everything was terrible. The football, we just couldn't put one past the ball to anybody. It was like, what did Sean Dyche do in training? But what was the setup? Was it the formation? The formation is as it is. It's as it always has been. The tactics, what has gone on? It's just like they didn't know what to do. They were getting out of position. Lindstrom, who played well against Leicester the previous week, was out of sort. He was just basically getting the ball. He was misplacing balls, his passes. He was out of position a lot, and it was all over the place. And even Jared Brantwaite coming back into that central defensive area, basically it took him a while to get going. We saw the best of him. Obviously, we'll talk about the second half, and it's a tale of two halves, obviously. But he took a while to get going, and it's like, and I was sitting there and I was watching James Tarkowski, and they were coming forward, and the ball was getting to the wing. The pace of James Tarkowski was slow. He was slow to go out, and he was slow to get back into position, and they were getting behind us, and they were getting crosses in, and the inevitability. But I was watching this, and I was thinking, what, what's going on here? What is actually happening? Because that first half was absolutely. I don't know if I'm going to say it's probably the worst first half display I've actually seen an Everton team playing for a while. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's any other games that we played like that. We probably have, but that this fresh in my mind. But that first half, players were all over the place. The core eight was not even protecting the defence. He was all over the place. He was getting the ball in positions, and when he would try to get forward, he was being dispossessed. He was actually giving the ball away. And the only player in that first half who was trying and trying and trying to get us forward and get us up the field was Ndiaye. And of course, we had that opportunity when McNeil as well flashed the ball across, and all it took was for Calvert to put his toe on it, and that was the only kind of chances that we had. But we weren't getting forward, and it was just it was awful. Mangala, who had a good game against Leicester, he was all over the place as well. It's like nobody, they were all standing like thinking, what do we do? Should I be in that position? Should I be in that position? What do I need to do? And and I'm just that this is why, and um, the manager and his position as manager is the pressure is obviously on him, but when when that time's going to happen, when Freaking takes over, when that happens in November, how quickly we go through disapproval. When they come in, they need to make a decision sooner rather than later on his position, because that's going to continue week in week out. Confidence is a wonderful thing, and I'll talk about the second half and the positive of that second half as well. But that first half, it's grained in my head, and and I don't want to think about it, but it was there. And it's easy to after I have to analyze a game of football, I have to talk about that first half, and I can walk away. I can go in my mind 3 points. Don't care what happened in that game, as long as we got the 3 points. That's the main thing. That's the main take home of the whole thing. Is that's my mindset. But I want my teams. I at this moment in time, I want to see my team perform straight from at home, going out there and doing the job. But that first half was awful, and I don't like to be negative about it, but that it was just like the players they didn't know each other. They didn't know what to do with the ball. They were giving it away. The pace, it was like we were just like all over the place. And if that was any other team besides Palace, Newcastle, an example next week, they'll come and score goals for fun, and in that first half, if we play like that again. But anyway, that's what happened. That's what my feelings are. I feel that despite you could be positive about this week, which I will do, and I am positive about the result because at the end of the day, it's a results business. We won. That's the main thing at the end of the day. But I had to talk about that first half because that first half was absolutely shocking and it needs to be called out. And the manager needs to be called out on it because how he set it up. And the interesting thing as we go into the second half here, obviously Lindstrom not performing well, and they made it. Obviously, I was saying to people around me, I said, I think we need to make a change with Lindstrom. I also felt we needed to make a change with Decore because I think he was a weak link in that midfield. As much as playing more a defensive role, he was a weak link in that decision. I felt that he should have made changes straight away. Harrison obviously came on for Lindstrom, straight swap. Okay, that's fine. That's the addition that we got on the bench. So Harrison took that position. Decore, nothing changed on that. And for me, why I feel that is just that his performance throughout, even in the second half as well, was terrible. It was not a very good performance by him, and he just felt out of sorts. And I just felt we've got Adrissa Gay on the bench. We've also got Irabunum on the bench. Irabunum, for some reason, feels like he's been dropped for Mangala, obviously, and he's just like pre that. Okay, up to about 60 minutes in games, he's been absolutely one of our best players. Everybody's talked about him. I think he can establish himself. He could be in the team throughout the season. Obviously, Mangala came in, and for some reason, he's not start. I don't think that was it. I think I can't remember when it last started the game, and they should have been given. If you're going to make a change, obviously Idris Gana Gale came later on in the game, but why don't you put Irabunum in that position? Let him do what he's the legs and get him the way he has been playing for that period of time. If he's on the bench, bring him on. If Decore is not performing and not doing his job and being very lackluster in his motivation and in playing in that defensive position, defensive midfield role, Sean Dyche, you've got a young player, needs all the experience, needs to play as many games as he possibly can, an opportunity, and he's been playing well when he has been. Get him on. Give him that 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Give him the time to get on and make an impact because I think he will make an impact and he'll be doing it. But no. And I'll go into the second half as is and just say that, you know, Harrison came on. Everything's like for like. Nothing changed. But we flew off the blocks and within a few minutes into the second half, Dwight McNeil, who has been playing well in that number 10 role, and he's actually, he's scoring goals and he's assisting this season as well as last one. And he's been in that role. And he's comfortable in that role. He seems to be happy in that role. Just went forward. We pressed. We put pressure on the Crystal Palace team. Yes, we reverted back to the good old launch the ball forward, get the knocks down. Dwight McNeil got the ball, absolute rocket right in the top corner. Absolute wonderful goal from him, and he's just continuing in that role. He's perfect in that role, and long may he stay there. And I think that is he needs if he's fit to keep him in that position because that goal was spectacular. And then of course not long after that we again, and this is what happens with the high press, putting the pressure on the defence, the midfield, pushing them back, which is what we need to do. You have to do that at home. After you're the home team, you have to put yourself forward. You're not. We're not the opposition. We're not the away team. We have to go at it. We're one down. We need to get back in it. We've gone to 1-1, and basically a wonderful bit of skill from Jack Harrison, who when he came on and in that position was hassling their good game right back and hassling him. Was it left back? I'm trying to get my head around. He's left back, but basically hassling him to get the ball, pressing, letting them make errors. But the ball came down to him, and he just made that wonderful little turn, instantly crossed it in. Dwight McNeil on the back post, onside. Basically, got a little bit of luck with the defender hitting off his foot, and he just placed it down, smashed right into the goal. 2-1. And I just thought we had the momentum, the confidence, the players. Right, we 2-1. I thought we could go on, and 3-1. We could have scored again. We could have gone forward. And for me, what I also saw in that second half, obviously, as I mentioned about Ndiaye, first half battling away, second half all over the pitch. He's at the back defending, supporting Mikalenko, supporting his defenders, the midfield, getting forward, getting fouls, doing everything he possibly, the touches and everything else, and the little flick. He keeping the ball to himself. He's just was a great to watch, and I was so pleased for the performance that he put in as well. But he's been doing that in every game that he has been played with us. That he gets back, he does his defensive job, but he gets forward as much as he possibly can. And I think at one stage, I think it looked like he was actually probably needed to be substituted, but he wanted to stay on the pitch. There's a minute he got the ball, and he just went down the line, pushing it, getting the ball, taking the team forward, getting fouls, and instead of doing the easy thing that some of our players do, is that when we're in a defensive mode and we need to get the ball away, what do? We clear it, we launch it, get right back, and then it comes back to the Palace team or any team, and they go forward again to try and get an equaliser, to try and get forward. But what Ndiaye does, he gets the ball, and instead of just like kicking it right down, kicking it right down the other end of the field or out the stands, he goes forward. He just runs right to the to the attacking third, and he gets into that, and takes the rest of the players and takes that pressure off. We need more players to do that. Is to get the ball, and if it's getting fouls from it, do we being treat to getting fouls? You need to do it. But what we haven't seen that with the players that we have, because when they get the ball, instead of trying, try. Well, I'm confident enough that I'm going to dribble past those players, and I'm going to get myself further forward down the pitch. They launch it. They just launch it back to the opposition, and they start again. And that we need more of the Ndiayes in us. And I do see a little bit, and I hope he continues to play the way that he does and makes an impact, and as he has been doing, scoring goals, creating opportunities, getting forward, and doing what he's been doing. If we get more and more of that, I do see a little bit of Stephen Pienaar in him. The way he played, the way he got the same thing, and it's just wonderful to see. And I get every time he's on the ball, I would get excited because I'm waiting what he's going to do next. And it's amazing that he gets the ball, and it just takes 3 or 4 players from the opposition trying to get the ball off him. And what that does is when they're trying to get the ball off him, they're all out of position. So if we can get other players in good positions while he's doing all that, we will create more and more opportunities. But that second half, as I mentioned, the 2-1 up, and Dyer doing the thing, as I mentioned, Branthwaite, really, I mean, he just grew and grew and grew. That first, obviously, a little bit rusty, a little bit, getting back into, playing in the Premier League again and getting back into the swing of things in the first team. Second half, you just know why he's going to be such a great player as the years and years go on. He's going to be an England regular. He's going to probably go to a bigger club than us currently within the Premier League, or whoever. It won't be Manchester United in my form. I think Manchester United, that boat sailed. I think we'll probably get a really, really good fee for him in the summer, unless he wants to sign, extend his contract, and just stay with us. Because, as I mentioned in a moment regarding the Freegan Group and to take over, and when that all happens, we're in a new stadium and everything positive on that front. Um, Going forward, he might decide, well, I want to play my football here. Good young players coming in, good players are coming to this club. Why do I need to go to the likes of Man City, Man United, whoever? Why do I need to go there? But his second half performance, you could just see it grow and grow and grow. His shit getting into the right positions, his the strength and everything about it. But what also I noticed is that second half, the confidence in the rest of that defence. And as much he's a young man, he's not Tarkowski, who you look upon as being the experienced player, who has this season not been performing very, very well. But you put him against this guy. This guy's got captain material all over him. And long may it continue. We'll see it again against Newcastle and onwards as the season goes on. Hopefully, we won't have any more injuries with him, and we can move forward. And hopefully, defensively, we'll become a little bit more stable again. And also, Patterson is playing another. I think this evening is playing another under 21s game. Hopefully, he might be on the bench. I got a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. I got a feeling that he's going to probably be on the bench for the Newcastle game. Well, Sean Dyche proved me wrong because he's, obviously has a young played. James Coleman is probably might be available soon, so it'll be a headache to have. But if because of his pace as well, and if we can get him up to speed again and showing the potential that he has, then our our defense will be a lot stronger for it, and also we'll have on our bench a little bit of a stronger bench because Ashley Young played okay. We'll talk about Ashley Young. He played okay against Palace, and he's specifically second half, but he he did his job, and that's what he's there to do. But what you in the ideal world want to have is a situation where they are bit players like Ashley Young and James Coleman to come on when we are stretched or when we need to, recharge the batteries and get the players off that needs a bit of a break and to actually use them for what they should be for, not for being playing week in, week out like they have been doing. Um, so yeah, so we'll see how that pans out. But I will also say about that second half is that we went 2-1 up and we did back off a lot of times. We didn't create as many opportunities in that second half than I was hoping when we went 2-1 up, and that is going to kind, and it's same old, and I don't know if it's a confidence thing, and I'm guessing it is a confidence thing, but for the players that they got into this position, we've been in this position before, and I don't know if it's a mental thing that is telling them in their head that we have to protect this lead, and instead of going for the jugular and going to try and get a third and build that confidence, we might see more of that next week. We don't know, but and I don't know if it's what they're feeling or what they think why they revert to that, or is it a manager thing? Is it the management telling them to just naturally back off and just protect that lead? Because we've seen it so many times this season that we've been in strong position and we backed off, and what's happened? We've conceded. But on this occasion, it didn't happen. I think Bramthwaite's performance as we went on into the second half got better and better, and I think that kind of protection helped. But I will say about Decore as well, who didn't come off, and I'm kind of trying to understand why. I know he moved into a more, I think he stayed in a more defensive midfield role because McNeil stayed on, and I'm thinking, why is he there? Why didn't you bring Irabunam on, or you bring he brought Idrissa Gana Gueye on for Mangala? So it was a bit of a strange decision why he went like that. And I don't know if it's his trust in Decore, and he felt that he had a good game. But then again, with Sean Dyche, it's what he said the other day regarding Michael Keane, saying he's having a good season to an extent, but he's been part of a team that been conceding goals. So, you know, Sean Dyche, I don't know. I can't understand some of his decision making. And I think a lot of us in that second half, we were 2-1 up. We just felt, okay, Harrison had to come on because Lindstrom's first half was just not good at all. And I think he was just way off the pace. And it was a right decision to make on that point. But I just felt, other than that, we were looking at thinking, you need to freshen it up a little bit because it looked like we were backing away again, as I said. And maybe it was tiredness, confidence, and all the usual, all that stuff. Something had to give. And I just felt fresh legs in the midfield. And it didn't take until about the 80th minute until Adrissa Gay came on for Mangala, but the Corey stayed on. And I don't know what's happened with Irabunum, as I say. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Has he been dropped? Is there a reason why he's been dropped? What you know? There's an opportunity there that we can give him more minutes. I don't understand it because he started the season really well. Yes, as I mentioned before, that we had the 10 minutes against Bournemouth and that's where he seemed to start to tire. But in my mind, the manager should have been, and I've said this before, should have brought him off, brought Seamus Coleman off in that game. Basically, freshen it up, get somebody in that midfield that's fresh legs that can, protect, get us a little bit further forward and do a job. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think. What about Iribunu, because it just seems to be that everybody really likes him. I think he's going to be fantastic for us, but I got a feeling I don't think he's going to be very good. I think he's going to be under a new manager going forward in the future, and whoever that may be, and I think he will probably make more of an impact there with a different manager, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Right, so yeah, good 3 points. We move forward. We go on towards the Newcastle game on Saturday. It's going to be a tough game, obviously, but I think if we can apply that kind of confidence that we had in that 15-20 minute spell and actually have it for the whole of the game and actually put more and more of a press on and put a lot of pressure on the Newcastle defence and actually get Ndiaye into the game. Harrison, if he starts, or Lindstrom, whoever in the wings, get us further forward up the field and actually get us more in the game, get the boards in the box. I think, we may be able to get a result. We may. I'm being optimistic, but it's going to be a tough one. So we'll just have to see on Saturday night. But yeah, that's a positive. But also, as I mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about the takeover. My thoughts on that, because obviously last week I was halfway through the podcast and it was all confirmed. As you can guess, it's currently going through the approval. There's been little charges been added onto Companies House if you ever like to go on there and go into the stadium side of it. That there's been a charge by the FG Freegan Group that have added a charge to it to there. So it's interesting at this moment in time. So, but my thoughts is this, that it's going. We all want it to happen as soon as possible, really. I want it. Hopefully this approval goes quicker than what the Ineos did with Manchester United and how long it took for their approval to go through the regulatory process. I just hope it goes through as quickly as possible. Um, the great thing it's going to be, if it all goes according to plan, which that everybody is saying, we could be in a situation in January that maybe we might have a bit of money. We may not, I don't know, but we might have a bit of money to be able to strengthen the squad. Hopefully, that result on Saturday spurs us on, and we can start a little bit of a run. Hopefully, and get some results, start getting more better results than we have had, and just go from there. But hopefully, when they come in, that it will be able to actually have the opportunity to bring strengthen the squad, because we've got a very small squad and we need to strengthen it a little bit more. It's an interesting one. Obviously, I mentioned about Sean Dyche. My thoughts on him is that I think his time is coming to an end. He's taken the club. He's done his job. Um, he's actually got, you know, kept us up in the seasons that we needed that to happen. But he's not a manager that's going to take our club forward to where we want to go. Where I would guess that the Freegan Group wants to take the club, and that's further up the table in European, being in Europe, challenging for titles. That's further down the line. That's 5, 10 years. That's 5 years down the line. That's not me thinking next season we're going to be absolutely fantastic. What I'm saying is that basically a 5 year plan's there. We get the right director of football, because sadly a lot of his recruitment's been failures. And at the end of the day, you know, I think when they come in, and this is my personal view, what I'm excited about is that they'll come in, they're going to bring in a new CEO, obviously, new board set up. I think a new director of football, and I think a new manager, and I think it's going to be difficult to get it right, because what's going through my head at the moment when I'm thinking about it, when Freaking comes in, they've obviously watched the game on Saturday. They think, oh great, we've got a result, got a 1-0, we've got a 3-2-1 win. But they probably watch the same game, and hopefully they've been listening to the fan base, not on social media all the time, but listening to the fan base and the feelings that we have regarding the way forward and the way the team is currently, or the way uh, way we are actually playing week in, week out. And it's 6 wins in since December 23. We had 5. We had one on Saturday, obviously, and that's not good enough. Yes, you can do PDF, the PSR breaches and this, that, and the other, but it's still not good enough. It's not a great record, and it's got to be better. It's got to be better. And I think the people that we have, the manager we have in charge, directing football, they are not the people to take us forward. If we do have a 5 year plan, or whatever plan that has been put in place, because reality is that when you've got players like Braithwaite, and a young player, he's not come through the academy, but we bought him when he was quite young. We sent him on loan. He's got better and better and better. He's just going to get better and better and better. So it's kind of having an academy graduate in some form. For a short period of time, we will be a club that will probably sell our best assets to bring money in, and gradually, bit by bit, in time, that money that comes in will be available, and we'll be able to strengthen the team, bring young players in, not just from the academy that we currently have. If there's any good ones that are coming through, we have got one or two that are on the bench and getting the opportunity to, and also going and using the market out there in the world, worldwide, not just in Europe, not just Premier League experience. We need good young players worldwide coming in with potential, and will play in the first team, and they'll get better playing in the first team, and hopefully we, as a team and a club, will get better also. And because of that, we will move in a direction where we will hope in the future we will not need to sell those players in the future. But for a short period of time, we may actually have to sell our assets to bring money in. We may not do. Maybe we don't need to do that. Maybe we can bring the young players in that we wanted worldwide, and who we can bring the best talent out there, and they come in, and we don't need to sell them, because we got, obviously, as I mentioned about Freegan, they've got a good, well, their wealth is very, very big. We've got a brand new stadium, so money's going to come in from there, obviously. So and all naming rights, new name rights for the stadium, sponsors, commercially, and all different deals like that are out there. So money will be coming in. So it may mean that we don't need to go and be that kind of club, the likes of Brighton or Brentford or other clubs, where they they bring young players in, get them in the first team squad, they get better, and then they have a sell on value, and you get really good, a lot of money from the sell ons. But that we may not be that club, because we are, as I mentioned, we're a massive club worldwide. We And this is why Freegans are coming in, not just because of the stadium. as they said in that statement, we're an iconic club because we are. We've won trophies. We've been at the top end of the division for a long, 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 long time, and we just and it, the great news that we had from that, and the reliable professional people, they're going to come in, and it's going to be great to see what happens in you know where we go into the future. It's going to be exciting times, but I also know that in the short term basis, there's going to be bumps in the road, and there's going to take time for us as fans to start seeing the payoff. Start seeing everything just growing and growing and growing the way it should do for this football club, because that's why we're moving from Goodison Park to Bramley Moor, because you can't build outwards, you can't do anything else with it anymore, and we need to actually generate more money in a bigger stadium and a bigger size stadium. And it's not just about us going to football matches, it's going to be used every day. It's going to be 365 days a year. They're going to have concerts, they're going to have all sorts of stuff. It's going to be open to the public a day in, day out, and it's just going to bring a lot of money into the club and in the old area when we move there. But as I mentioned about Freaking, it's great that they're coming in. It's going to be exciting times, I think, to see what they want to do. I know, they've not mentioned much yet. Hopefully, we'll find out more when that approval is done, and they will, start obviously answering questions, um, and find what is their plans for us going forward and where they want to take this football club. But it's the right people, and hopefully it'll be at the right time. So yeah, it was all good. So yeah, so I mean, for me going forward, I think all positive. Let's continue on this positive train. As much as I have a bit of a negative start to this podcast, with the first half, but let's be positive. Let's get better. We've got Brozier hopefully coming in. Whatever you think about Brozier, if he's going to be good for us or not, He'll be hopefully have an opportunity to see him play and see if he can capture that early form that he had at Chelsea, when everybody was interested in him. So we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, let's start this week in a positive frame of mind. We go into the game on Saturday. Just go for it, basically. Well, that's my mindset. I just hope Sean Dyche has the same mindset to get the players to go out there and actually go for it and get a result, and have no fear. Uh, but uh, but hopefully that bit of confidence of that win helps, into the next game. Yeah, so that's it for this podcast this week. Thank you again for listening and watching the podcast. It's very much appreciated. Just to mention, as I mentioned at the beginning, Mark Thomas is coming on Sunday. We recorded on Sunday and it'll be out on Monday. It's going to be fantastic to have him on. Talk about all things Bramley Moor Dock Stadium, the drone, and everything about that. Obviously, we'll talk about the football, talk about whatever the result will be on Saturday evening, and anything in between. So, yeah, so thank you again for listening to this podcast. Thank you for the support as ever. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the performance on Saturday, and about the freaking group. What you think? What you hope to see from when they come in and take the reins. Let me know in the comments below. On that note, thank you again for listening. I'm back obviously next Monday, with Mark hopefully on the podcast. So take care, have a good week, and I'll speak to you again soon. All right, take care. Bye bye.